standing in line, waiting like cattle, what will they find? Wondering where yesterday went. Think of all the moments passing us by, count the minutes, see how they fly, and think of the moments you still have.
Greetings, everyone. Richard Solomon taking care of business this week in the studio, Vista Hill. Why don't you just check them out for a minute before we introduce the band?
Work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, dance as if no one's watching, sing like you want to be heard, and live like it's heaven on earth, and live like it's heaven on earth. For all the times you thought you were right, screaming so loud just to win the fight, what did you have to give up in return?
All right, Richard Solomon, welcome to Taking Care of Business. And this is a co-production with My Father's Place. And we got Sherman Arnowitz and Mark Brenner from Vista Hill. By the way, vistahillband.com. So if you're in front of a computer, if you're streamcasting this, go check out their website. And but we're going to talk. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us, Rick.
Thank you.
So for the people who are going to be hearing this before you perform at My Father's Place, everybody should know that they're going to be performing at My Father's Place at the Roslyn Hotel, the new My Father's Place. But the band also has a history of playing at the old My Father's Place in Roslyn on Bryan Avenue. We'll get into that. So just again, we have Sherman Arnowitz and we got Mark Brenner. And so this is really awesome. So let's talk. Tell me about the band and what was the song that we introed the show with?
Great. Thanks for having us, Rich. We really appreciate it.
We love having local people, and I understand you're going to tell us a little bit that you're lifelong friends, from childhood. And
absolutely.
That's always, it's always so.
We're going to laugh. We're going to cry this hour. It's just going to be very, very lovely. That song, by the way, is called Moments, and we most of the time we close our show with that. It's a fan favorite. It's just an upbeat song talking about taking advantage of every moment and don't worrying about the little things and just look at the big picture and just live life dance like there's no one watching and sing like you want to be heard. And it's just a very powerful song.
And be on the radio like no one's listening.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope they are. Kind of a Carpe Diem song.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that's from an album?
That's from our first album, Looking for Tara. Vista Hill is a 4-piece band. I'm the lead singer, and I play acoustic guitar. Mark is also a singer and is in charge of keyboards and our orchestra leader. And then we have a bass player, Todd Roberto, and we have a drummer, Richie Shapiro. So
All right.
It's just the four of us.
So a beautiful quartet.
Absolutely.
All right, so you guys knew each other from childhood.
Yes.
So tell me about that. That's always a good story.
Yeah, our families were fairly close, and they were in the neighborhood, and we used to hang out, from time to time. We'd play some music together. We'd play some tennis together, hang out and listen to music together, pick up girls together, and we never actually blossomed into a full band at that time until we were a little older, and we really fully connected about 2007. So, because I wasn't playing with a band at the time, and Sherman had a need for a keyboard player. And I said I'd come and check it out. They checked me out. I checked them out. It was a great fit.
All right, so what was the first song you guys remember playing as kids together that you actually, was an original song?
Let me preface by saying we grew up in Lake Success, and Lake Success had the Lake Success pool. I'm about 3 years younger than Mark, and I remember being in the pool and seeing Mark, and I think at the time his girlfriend Susie setting up the keyboards and the microphones, and I wasn't performing at the time, and I just looked at him and I said, "That guy is so cool." They're playing they got the Lake Success Country Club pool gig, and it was just so exciting, and nobody was really listening, but it was just like so cool that here's a guy with the keyboards and his girlfriend was singing. And it was happenstance. And what happened was I was taking my girls on a vacation in Sarasota, Florida, and we went to the movies. And who did we bump into? But Mark, who I hadn't seen in a couple years. And we just kind of got together and, hey, what are you up to? What am I up to? Okay, bye. Next day, I was with my girls out to dinner. who do we bump into again? Mark and his family. So now all of a sudden we're like, hey, you know what? I'm doing this project. It's not. I'm looking for a 4-piece. Why don't you come down? We'll start playing together, and that's really how it started. It's just kind of happenstance and the universe talking and getting us together.
And I think the thing that drew me to the band was Sherman's songwriting, which is special. I mean, it's heartfelt. It's accessible to anyone who listens. Music is relatively easy to listen to itself. It's not, bopping you over the head with it. And I enjoyed listening to it. I thought it might be fun to be part of it.
The other thing is, if you go to a Vista Hill concert, you're going to see people from 5 years old to 95 years old. It's the type of music that everybody likes to listen to. Most of the stuff is very upbeat, and we just really enjoy playing it. The nice thing is that Mark has a jazz background, and so I'll write a song and I'll present it to the band. And there's a little jazz and Latin going on. And so I'll have my thoughts of what the song should be. But as I write it and then I present it to the band, all of a sudden someone will say, well, what if we changed the timing? Or what if we added this? And so not all the time what I have in my head is the final product with the input from everybody else. So to me, that's the cool collaboration of.
And that's not usual for a singer-songwriter to say, okay, where do you want to take this? How do you want to change it? I mean, to be that open and, honestly vulnerable, is quite a quality. And so we end up, we may spend a whole evening kind of collaborating on the different ways the song could go.
Now, were there times when Sharman, you've written a song and then you go, nah, and then you completely rewrite it,
Yes.
So I'm always fascinated by the songwriting process. I know that some people say that the songs are just out there and you have to pull them out. I think Paul McCartney said that, and
He stole that from me, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Then there are other people who like the band Blu-rays. I think one guy makes the music, and then he asks the other guys to kind of put the lyrics and the other stuff, in it. How does it work for you? Do you walk around? I always ask, do you walk around with pads or recorders, and do you wake up in the middle of the night, write something so you don't forget it?
First of all, it's the most intimate activity because you have a spark, a thought, and that thought is based on a feeling. And whether it's I got into a fight with my daughter, or whatever it is, it's just that spark. And from that spark, I remember being in therapy and we were talking about my childhood, and I said, yeah, it was always like I was wearing a suit of armor. And that really stuck with me. And I went home and I started writing a song using that metaphor of suit of armor and how I needed to protect myself from my siblings and my parents. And so it's very intimate, it's very vulnerable. And for me as a songwriter, when I have that piece of paper in my hand and I think I'm ready and I present it to the band, it's a little nerve-wracking because there have been times where I could look at, Mark's face or one of the other guys' face and they're like, interesting. Or what's worse is when they say, yeah, and they'll start playing it and it's a song that's already been published, but I didn't hear it when I was kind of creating. So for me, the writing it's either a word that comes to mind, like suit of armor, that just comes out.
Probably a phrase. Okay.
A phrase,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, I'm going to do something about that. Or maybe it's just a melody line that's in my head, and then I'll start working from that point forward.
And then one of the things that I like to do is think about the different sounds. I play a bunch of different keyboards, and so I have access to any kind of sounds from horns to strings to marimbas, whatever you need. And, for example, the song Promenade, I decided it might be a good idea to have a accordion / harmonica playing to open it up, which, gives it's a French song, kind of. And it's in 3/4 time, and everyone, kind of agreed that was the way to go. So those musical changes, they can change a song dramatically.
Now, are there times when a song has evolved over time and it starts one way and everybody agrees on the song, but then somehow it becomes something a little different over time, either through improv or just someone says, let's get a little wacky. I mean, do you have that?
We've gotten pretty wacky. There are a couple of songs that really lend themselves towards a jazz feel, and so when it comes to solo time, because actually the drummer and I played for 40 years together. He's a fantastic drummer. He's played in every different genre, but we meld very well together jazz-wise, and so we end up taking it out maybe a little bit too far out for some people's tastes, but.
Yeah, I'm a very meat and potatoes when it comes to music, and so for me, I might be the songwriter, but I'm the worst musician of the band, meaning I don't have as much training as these guys. So when they start taking off and they go, yeah, let's do it at a 4/4, blah, 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 and I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden they'll start going off on their own like they're speaking a different language. So I kind of feel like I'm not invited to the party.
You're invited.
All right, so for everybody out there, let's play a song. Should we play Making Waves in its entirety so people can actually appreciate that song? Or you want to? What would you like? Do you want to play something else?
I'd rather go on the new album.
Okay.
Why don't we do I Could?
Let's take a look.
When Mark talks about his keyboard and what he's able to do with the keyboard, towards the end of the song, he starts bringing in horns.
All right. So this is from the album Here Comes Life, and the song is called I Could, and you can find this at vistahillband.com. So here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vista Hill.
I could talk with you all night on the telephone, tell you how much I miss you, how I'm all alone. I could be a knight in armor, protect you from your fears, keep you always laughing, dry up all your tears. Well, I guess that love comes in many colors. One man's red is another man's blue. When I'm with you, all I see are rainbows. Your colors are why I love you. Your colors are why I love you. I could hold you in my arms all night long. I could shower you with praises or write you a song. I could share all my secrets, tell you all my fears, promise to love you for a million years. Well, I guess that love comes in many colors. One man's red is another man's blue. When I'm with you, all I see are rainbows. Your colors are why I love you. Colors are why I love you. Listen here now. I love the way you comb your hair. I love the way you're always there. I love the way you make me feel. But sometimes I'm just speechless. I could draw you back, recite you a poem, beg you to stay over and call this home. I could write you a letter, seal it with a kiss, hope for forever and make a wish. Well, I guess that love comes in many colors. One man's red is another man's blue. When I'm with you, all I see are rainbows. Your colors are why I love you. Your colors are why I love you. hollers why I love you.
You know, for a minute, I thought it was in New Orleans.
Yeah, kind of a ragtime thing.
You know, it's very interesting. For four people, you have much more sound than four people. You know, it's a testament to how great your musicianship is, because, you know, look, you know, we all hear all kinds of, you know, four-piece bands, but you know, if somebody said, how many people are, you know, in the recording studio, said 6, 7, you know, so you really have a great richness of sound. In the 2 minutes we have left in this segment, tell me about that song and, you know, your inspirations and what was behind it and sort of the, you know.
I was having a discussion with my wife, Gail, and we were talking about relationships, and she had mentioned, you know, well, why couldn't you do this, or why would you want to do that? And it was done in a very innocent way, and I kept saying, I could. Yeah, I guess I could do that. I could do that. And then it prompted me to say, there's a difference of kind of saying I could and I could because I want
or
to.
I will.
Exactly. Or I
Shall.
will.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of became, these are all the things that I want to do for you. And it's not because I need to or I have to do it. It's because I want to do it. And that was the origin of the song.
Cool. All right, we have 1 minute left. So when we come back, let's talk about let's talk a little bit about you're playing at my father's place, both past and future, because that's going to be kind of cool.
Great.
All right, so this is Richard Solomon with the band Vista Hill. It's vistahillband.com on the internet. They have all this music that's just great to listen to. And we were with Sherman Arnowitz and Mark Brenner in the studio. And keep it locked here, and we'll be right back.